As we bring in some reinforcements to help break it all down, Justin Bourne, a crazy start to the signing season. And let's start with the Habs. So they add David Savard and Mike Hoffman, but lose Philip Deneau. We know how key he was to the run to the Cup final. So how do you possibly replace a guy like him?
Well, it's pretty significant, but I'll be honest, he's one of the guys that I have a real tough time making sense of. Like, he played top line minutes on the way to the Stanley Cup final and scored one time. However, no one he played against scored either. So, like, the value of that is tough to calculate. It is, at the end of the day, it's an immense loss for the Montreal Canadiens, particularly because he was a guy who played the type of hockey that we got used to Montreal playing there. Hoffman does not play that style, but what he does do is score goals. So I think they're adding a little bit more of what they were missing with the Hoffman ad.
No surprise here. The Oilers need to find some playoff success. Have they improved enough? Is Zach Hyman the magical missing piece that they needed?
Ooh, tough to say that the Oilers have improved. I will say their forward group has improved. So that's great. Hyman's a nice addition. I think Fogel's a nice addition as well. So that forward group, it's pretty substantial. But I don't think any team looked at the Oilers and said, you know what their problem is? That team can't score. They've been able to score. It's can they keep the puck out of their own net? And right now, the six defensemen they're going to roll out next season, it's not the strongest defensive group. It's a talented group, a puck-moving group, not the strongest defensive one in front of Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen. Could be some 1980s scores, but hey, the Oilers had success in that area, so maybe that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it could work out just in their favor. Leafs Nation always hard to please, but it seemed like a positive response to their addition of Peter Mrazek. So what else do they need to do to get over that playoff hump?
Well, if you look at their lineup right now, there's some issues about who's going to play in the top six. Like, is Michael Bunting going to be on the left side beside Matthews and Marner? All due respect to Bunting, I don't think that's a great solution. So, our own Elliot Friedman tweeted yesterday that they've got about $3.5 million in cap space to play with. They could use that even in a trade. Maybe a team could retain some salary and you can add another top six winger. All of a sudden, they would look a lot better. The bet that they're making is that they were good enough to have postseason success. They got unlucky in losing John Tavares last year, and they're banking that won't happen again. I don't know if they're right or wrong. I'm not saying either way, but I think they believe they have a good mix. They just need to add a little something else right now.
Justin, I'm a bit surprised we aren't talking about Jack Eichel saying bye-bye to Buffalo just yet. What's the latest surrounding him, and could Calgary potentially be a good fit?
Calgary could be a good fit. Like, they've got the pieces that Buffalo is apparently rumored to be asking for, and some good young players, some prospects, picks. Like, they could put together a package that could probably make it happen, but it gets hard now. Like, they didn't make the Eichel move at the draft. They didn't make it at free agency. Now everyone's back smashed up against the salary cap and the amount of teams who can get involved. It's a watered down pool. They haven't decided what treatment Eichel needs yet. He hasn't had the surgery. I feel like Buffalo has kind of not missed the boat, but they missed an opportunity to maximize the value they could have gotten in return for him.
Speaking of the cap situation, Tampa right up against it. It is tight, especially following the extension to Braden Point. So how do they get out of this little jam? They got to convince Stamkos to take a friendly cut or something?
No, it's old Brisebois there is the GM of the 2 years ago, last year, and this year. The Johnson move was brilliant. They've kept their top six intact, which is such a huge part of why they're valuable. And I know that they had success at the bottom of their roster last year, but I like a lot of the bets they made. Bringing back Bogosian on a really affordable deal was a nice piece of business. Belmar was a nice ad on the cheap. Like, I really like everything they've done. And plus they have guys like Matthew Joseph and Colton that they're making room for. So I still feel like Tampa Bay Lightning are the favorites to win the Cup yet again, despite being smashed up against that salary cap every year. Brisebois is doing great work.
Man, you are doing excellent work when you continue to be the Cup favorite and negotiate all of those different pieces. Thanks a lot, Justin.
Yeah, thanks, Danielle.